Okay, so I want you to look at this political cartoon. Who do y'all see in this political cartoon? Uncle Sam. How is the cartoonist depicting him? As a monarch. What gives us clues? Yes, we'll talk about evil in a second. He's on a throne. He has a bat, right? What's on the bat? Money. So we're really concentrated on money. He was making him look like a monarch because you also saw the crown and on a throne. And really, this is the idea of imperialism. We talked about this as we did the reading last time. That America is going to extend its domination over nations, but does it tend to take over these nations and make them states? No, but they're going to use military force, which is the bat, and economic force to take over. And we're really not, are we going to respect democracy? Do you think we're going to respect democracy? And that's why he is being crowned as a monarch, because do monarchs respect that? Okay, so we talked about earlier that as we move into these new territories, that we're going to see that we moved here and these became states. But when we go overseas to these areas, are they going to become states? No. They're going to be territories or just colonies of the United States. So our progressive presidents are also going to be our imperialistic presidents. Y'all saw this image last time, but I only showed you a portion of it, right? What was the portion that y'all saw last time?
Bushy eyebrow guy.
Who's the bushy eyebrow guy? Okay, this is McKinley. Okay, who is he? What is he doing? Tailoring who? What has happened to Uncle Sam? He is expanded, and y'all, we talked about the pinstripes. What do we see on the pinstripes? The states. So now, this is the portion of what we saw. We said he was encouraging growth, right? He didn't have him on a treadmill trying to make him lose weight. Okay? I want you now to talk to your partner about what you see on this side of the picture. Okay, so these guys, what do we see? What do y'all say that y'all see? Anti-expansionist policy. What are they? What is that on? They're feeding him what? It's a medicine. It's a vial, right? They're giving him a spoonful of sugar and some medicine on top, right? Okay. These people, do they want Uncle Sam to expand? No. These are people who are part of the Anti-Imperialist League. They do not want him to expand. Some of these people are Carnegie, Mark Twain, and William Jennings Bryan. Okay? They look like from Sweeney Todd. I don't even think if y'all have seen Sweeney Todd. But, okay. So one of the things that's going to be used to justify our imperialism is the Monroe Doctrine. Do y'all remember what president had the Monroe Doctrine? Monroe. But was it Monroe who really created it? No, who was the guy who did it?
John Quincy Adams.
John Quincy Adams. He was doing this in reaction to what war had we just been in with the British. And we realized that we would have lost unless Russia came in and helped us, right? Saying that they needed the British out of this war. And so we had an armistice. Remember that ceasefire? And so now we are negotiating this treaty, the Monroe Doctrine, saying that the U.S. wants everybody to stay out of the Western Hemisphere. Did we really have that power at that time? No. And y'all saw in question number 2, Alfred Thayer Mahan is going to look at the most powerful nation in the world at this time, which is Great Britain. And he realizes the reason why they're powerful is they have a navy. And this is going to influence the United States to increase our navy. I want you to discuss with your partner what is going on in this political cartoon. Talk to you. Page 26 is on the Who's making it?
The lion looks scared.
Yeah.
26, that's 5 minutes there. So, who have y'all determined is the lion? Great Britain. Okay, would any of y'all be brave enough to do that? This is not a tiger, right? Okay. This lion, usually is anybody going to go out and pull a lion's tail?
Yeah. What is that?
Okay. Who is doing this? The U.S. Okay. And a lot of it deals with Great Britain and what is going on here in question 3 of your study guide. We did this map last time and we know this is British Guiana, right? And this is Venezuela. But the British have found what? Gold, and they want to go into this area that belongs to Venezuela. Is that following the Monroe Doctrine? No, and so the U.S. is going to sit Great Britain down saying, no, you cannot go into Venezuela and take over this area. You need to stay in your territory. And they did this in a little arbitration. This has just set up America to become the dominant force in enforcing the Monroe Doctrine and pushing who back out of this hemisphere? Okay. So we've talked about Hawaii. We talked about Hawaii and the whole idea that we had missionaries going out there. We had Americans going out there. And they were upset because they had to pay the tariff, and did Americans want to buy their sugar, their fruits? And so we talked about what happened to the queen. They try to overthrow her. Does this look like that political cartoon I showed you last time? No, she looks civilized. And so when it came to Cleveland, and y'all saw this on number 6, did he want to annex Hawaii? He thought what the Americans had done there was immoral. He's like, how dare you try to overthrow that queen? And so under the Cleveland administration, they did not allow Hawaii in. We're going to see eventually under the McKinley administration, we will bring Hawaii in. Hawaii will share the same type of history as Texas. Remember when Texas applied for statehood, did they let it in?
No.
Why not? What was the issue with Texas?
Slavery.
Slavery could have been how many states? 5. Was it a moral issue back then? Now looking at Hawaii, what was done to the Hawaiian people? Was it a moral issue? And so that's why they don't come in. They both become republics. One under, we talked about Texas before, but we talked about Dole last time, creating this republic. So it comes in by 1898. Last time, we were talking about why we felt sympathetic to the Cubans. We have had an oppressive motherland. Who is that oppressive motherland? Great Britain. We have felt what it was to be oppressed. Also, I had showed you about the Butcher-Weiler camps, right? Those were the reconcentration camps, and what were they doing to the people there? Okay, I'm going to make this picture big, and tell me what y'all see now. What are they? Bones. Because what has happened to the people? They died. Okay, do y'all see the soldiers sitting on top? These are going to be put in the newspapers. Is it going to encourage Americans that we need to get involved? Right? Because what the Spanish were doing was the insurgents were burning down the sugar fields. And anytime they got insurgents, they would put them in these concentration camps. And you have to realize how close Cuba is. It's 90 miles south. There was just an earthquake there. And in Miami, they felt it. In Florida, the backlash of that. And so many Americans have invested, and now they're fearful because the insurgents, which you should have seen in question 7, were burning the fields down. And that was American investment. And many of these American businesses asked the government to come in and help. So what did the government send in to help? The Maine. And we read about this. It was sent in to protect the Americans. And on its way there, what happened? It exploded. Okay, we know why did it explode? The ammunition room. There was a problem. But when the press get a hold of this, who do they blame it on? Spain. Here's the remember the Maine. To hell with Spain. Sorry, said the bad word. Okay, but when the press gets a hold of this, Hearst asked Remington to go furnish pictures. Is this a picture? It's a painting. Hearst goes down there and paints this. Was Hearst even there? No. And so this is one of the newspaper articles that was run, that the main explosion caused by a bomb or a torpedo. Is some of this true? What is the true part? Explosion. We said they wrote knowingly lured and inaccurate accounts. What is the inaccurate part? Bomb or torpedo. That's not true, right? And so we're going to see that these newspaper articles are going to draw us into war. And so that's the yellow press. The yellow journalists are going to knowingly get us involved in this war by, yes, some of it's truthful, but some of it's not. Okay, there's a word on here you do not know. It's called jingoism. Jingoism is extreme pride in one's nation. Can we all agree Donald Trump is very jingoistic? Yes, he is. And so the yellow journalists are going to reintroduce this idea of jingoism, protect America at all cost. And there's going to be another letter that they're going to send out, which is the DeLome letter. So I have to talk about the press. One of the things that was done is that there was respect in the press, that they would not insult the president. So all the way up to FDR. FDR was known to be in a wheelchair. The press did not publicize that. So most Americans did not know our president was in a wheelchair, because would they have thought less of him? Yes. Today, no, Greg Abbott's in a wheelchair, right? We're fine with that. But back then, they couldn't have trust that. And so there was a level of respect the press had for the Americans. But if a person insulted our president, they were going to go after that. And what happened in the DeLome letter is that a Spanish minister is insulting McKinley. They're calling him two things. And for us, we wouldn't use those insults today. One of the insults is they call him an eclair. I don't know, do y'all know what an eclair is? Okay, it is, have you ever gone to the donut shop and got the jelly? Yeah, the long donuts that have the jelly in the middle and it has the chocolate on the top. Hey, well, a lot of you are like, how is that an insult? It's like you're cream filled and delicious and fluffy and everybody wants you. I'm not looking at the positives. But if you're ever called that, that means you're a person without a backbone. Because you try to stand up one of those donuts, it'll just fall down. Okay, and don't try it unless you want to. But it's an insult. The other insult that is in here is they call him an ear to the ground president. Okay, so what does that mean? His ears to the? So he's listening to all the rumblings of everybody else to make a decision. Is that a person who is decisive? Is that a person who's a leader? And so basically they're insulting him that he cannot make his own decisions and he doesn't have a what? And that is insulting. The newspapers get a hold of it. They put it out there. We're insulting our president. That is jingoism. How dare we should fight to protect our president. So we saw this image last time, right? The last thing is McKinley's going to go to Spain saying, hey, look, they want their independence given to them. Do you think the Spanish will allow them just to give them up?
No.
No, because they're going to lose a lot of money. So the Spanish refuse. And so now the issue is that he has problems. They don't want to comply. They didn't want to take it easy. So he's going to have to go to Congress. He goes to Congress and he asks for a declaration of war. And we're going to see that on April 11th, and this is going to be a short war. It's going to be done by Christmas. Okay? We're going to declare war, but the Cubans are freaking out. They're like, are we just leaving one colonial power to get another colonial power over us? So the U.S. is going to promise them in the Teller Amendment, I think this is number 12 for y'all if you missed it, that we're going to promise in the Teller Amendment that we're not trying to take them over. That we are going to give them their independence when we secure it for them. Is that being a nice, helping? Okay, and so many people are shocked the U.S. would do this. But again, do we have a lot of sympathy for them? And so what will go on is a couple of things about war. We're going to have a two-front war. One that will take course in the Philippines. So before Theodore Roosevelt leaves office of the Secretary of the Navy, he calls up Commodore Dewey saying, hey, we're going to have a two-pronged war. I need you to go out there to get to Manila. When he gets to Manila, he's introduced to this guy, Emilio Aguinaldo, who's going to lead the Filipino army. And with the help of the Filipinos, they're able to defeat the Spanish the day after the treaty is signed. So do we get the Philippines as a spoil of war? No, because we won them the day after, so we have to pay for them. We'll pay $20 million. In the Caribbean, we're going to see Puerto Rico welcomes our troops. We're able to get control of Puerto Rico. We're going to look at San Juan Hill, and the Battle of Santiago is just basically a blockade, a quarantine. I want us to look at this image, and I want you to talk to the people you've been talking to. What is the problem that you see with our military? And this group is Theodore Roosevelt's Rough Riders. Remember, he moved out west to become a cowboy after what event? His wife dying and his mama dying. And he goes out, he gets some cowboy friends amongst John Muir and Gifford Pinchot. But look and talk to your partner. These are the people he has brought with him, the Rough Riders. There is issues militarily with this image. That's just all. So don't worry about writing it.
It doesn't look so hard. They're
You saw it 26, is that? Okay, what do we see is the problem? You may want to go drop that, and then everything you need is right here. There's pencil colors. Okay, what is the problem? No horses, and they're what? Okay, Rough Riders. What happened is the horses got left in Florida. There is issues with our military. What's the other issue? They don't look like a military. Why do they look like you, Silas, today? You could get up there, right? Right, Silas? Blue shirt, almost. Like, what does it look like they're wearing? Casual clothes. But when I think of someone in the military, what do I usually think of? Sorry, Silas, didn't mean to pick on you. Camo, but usually, if I were to see a person in the military, what do they have on top? Their uniform, their coat. And then they have their pants, right? Usually they have something underneath it, right? Do they have their top stuff on? No, right? What do they have on? What was underneath their uniform? So I want you to think why. Why wouldn't they have their top coat? Talk to your partner. Silas, would you want to put a top coat on over yourself? Why not?
Oh, it's because they're in, like, Puerto Rico.
Well, they're in Cuba. Okay, so now we figured it out over here. How many of y'all, I just suggested to Silas because he's dressed in his fatigues today, okay? But I just suggested, why don't you put your top coat, put your pants on, go over there. And he's like, oh, that's Cuba. It's what? Did they want to have their military coat on? No, so now they're in their shirt, their dress shirt that's under, their pants that are under, their boots. And many of y'all, if I was in Cuba, would you be wearing all of that? No, if we could go to Cuba, we would probably be wearing very tropical clothing. But you have to understand, and I'm going to show you a real picture of them. This is Roosevelt and his Rough Riders. I want you to talk about why is their shirts all the way down to their wrist? Why are they buttoned up? Ah, skeeters. Yay, mosquitoes. Okay, those stinking. I know, passing on disease and germs, and we didn't even want to kiss them. Okay? And so, do y'all understand why they are well dressed? all the way down to there because they do not want to be bitten by a mosquito. Sorry. They do not want to be bitten by a mosquito. And this was probably in order, right? There will be more people who will die of mosquito bites because they will spread what? Disease than from bullets. Okay? And this is why they're dressed in this attire. Okay? Are we okay? Do you now understand why they took their top coats off? Do you now understand? Like, have you ever seen construction workers in the summer? You're like, man, it's 100 degrees outside, and you're in shorts and a tank. Gentlemen, right? Shorts and a tank. Women, shorts and a tank, right? Everybody's something, shorts and a tank, and in AC, right? And you see those construction workers, are they wearing long sleeves? Are they wearing pants all the way down? Do they have a hat? Do they have something covering their neck? Why are they doing that? Why are these guys dressed like that? To protect them from the sun. Okay? So there's two reasons why they're dressed like this. So the war will be over really quickly. And this is question 20 if you're missing it on your study guide. That it asked about the terms of this. We are going to see that first off, Cuba is given its independence. Cuba is given its independence. The U.S. will get 2 colonies as a gift for help, Puerto Rico and Guam. We will have to pay $20 million for the Philippines. Okay. We will have to pay $20 million. Why do we pay $20 million? We got it. We want it after. Okay. So now we have an issue. Cuba is really independent, but America does not want to let Cuba go on its own. There was sanitation issues. What was the sanitation issue? The mosquitoes. We want to get rid of the, mosquitoes are attracted to standing water, right? We want to get rid of all that standing water so we get rid of the mosquitoes so we can improve sanitation. Is America being a good guy? We want to build schools, government facilities, roads. Is America being a good guy? But just imagine, like, you get your new house and everything and your parents are there trying to do stuff. Don't you just want to get them out? And this is how Cuba feels about America. They're like, why are you here? We're independent. You said you would leave in the Teller Amendment. And so they're going to be very resentful about Americans. They're saying you're violating the Teller Amendment. So you should have picked up today at the front this thing that says the Platt Amendment, right? I thought I had one. Okay, did everybody pick one up? This was question 26 of your study guide. I know people in the past have had issues with the Platt Amendment, so we're going to read the Platt Amendment, and as we go through it, I want you to think, are we allowing Puerto Rico to be independent, its own nation? So Article 1, the government of Cuba shall never enter into any treaty or any compact with any foreign power which will impair the independence of Cuba, nor in any manner authorize or permit any foreign power to obtain, by colonization or military purpose, control over any said portion of said island. So what can't they do?
Basically,
Converse with another nation and create what with that nation?
a treaty.
A treaty. Are we allowing Cuba to be a nation? No. Article 2. The government of Cuba shall not assume or contract any public debt for which the current expense of government shall be inadequate. Are we allowing it to be a nation? Because what can't they do? Tax or get debt, right? 3. The government of Cuba consents that the United States may exercise the right to intervene for the preservation of Cuban independence. So we could come in any time to make sure Cuba is still what? Okay. The maintenance of a government adequate for the protection of life, property, and individual liberty, and for discharging the obligations with respect to Cuba to impose the Treaty of Paris in the United States, now assumed by undertaking of government of Cuba. So Cuba is independent, but who has the right to sweep in and be a superhero for them? U.S. Even if they want it or they don't, we're going to come in. Is this allowing Cuba to be independent? Article 4. All acts of the United States and Cuba during its military occupation are ratified and validated. All lawful rights acquired thereunder shall be maintained and protected. So, Anything we done, was it okay?
Yep.
Yeah, we're making them agree that it's okay. Article 5. The government of Cuba will execute the plans already devised for sanitation of the cities in the island, so that epidemic and infectious disease may be prevented, thereby assuring protection of all the people and commerce of Cuba. Okay, that one makes sense, right? Keep it up. But do you think that's going to cost money? Okay, Article 6. The island of the Pines shall be omitted from the boundaries of Cuba, the title being left for future adjustment. So Cuba is Cuba, but now what are we taking away from it? Are we letting Cuba be independent? Last part. Article 7. To enable the United States to maintain the independence of Cuba and to protect the people thereof, as well as for its own defense, the government of Cuba will sell or lease the United States lands necessary for a coaling or naval station at certain specified points agreed upon the President of the United States. So they have to do what here? Give us land. Does anybody know this land that they give us in Cuba? Guantanamo Bay. This is how we get Guantanamo Bay. So, are we allowing Cuba to be independent? No. Cuba is independent, but really not by the Platt Amendment. They have to lease us Guantanamo Bay. They have to allow our troops to intervene. We can protect them. And basically, Cuba becomes a protectorate. Do you think the Cuban people are going to dislike this Platt Amendment? And so, 50 to 60 years later, people like Fidel Castro are going to become very powerful. And another guy named Che Guevara. They're going to dislike America backing presidents there. American businessmen taking over, and they're eventually going to lead to the foundation of communism and what their current relations are with them because of this Platt Amendment. Okay? So this is how we sour our relationships with Cuba. But the results of the Spanish-American War. We realized that we need a strong Navy. Did we have a strong Navy yet? No. We realized the weaknesses of our Army. What were our problems with our Army? Yeah, they didn't have the right fatigues. They forgot some of their equipment. Spain lost part of its its empire. It got Puerto Rico taken away, Guam taken away, and we paid $20 million for the Philippines. We ended our isolationism and became a world power. We're going to be recognized as a world power. Great Britain will be removed, and we will become the dominant power in the Western Hemisphere. We will become active in Asia, and we will eliminate some tropical disease. Amidst all of this war, a group of people will rise up, this anti-imperialist league. Did we see them in that cartoon? There's Mark Twain, there's William Jennings Bryan, there is Andrew Carnegie is in there, right? So I'm going to move us to something else.